Hey everyone, welcome to Pop Crime TV. I'm Lauren Conlon, and today I want to give you my thoughts on the Karen Reed 2020 special. They called it The Perfect Storm. No one asked for my opinion, but here I am giving it to you anyway. Before I get started, go ahead and like, subscribe, or become a member. Okay, so the 2020 special aired on Friday night at 9 p.m. And look, I felt like it left out critical details that raise questions about the reasonable doubt in this case. And if I were watching the 2020 episode and I knew nothing about the case, I would say, it's not really seeming to be that much of a mystery. It seems pretty cut and dry. The logical explanation would be Karen hit John with her car. Now, if you followed the trial, you'll know, like I know, there was a lot of reasonable doubt and it ended in a mistrial in July of 2024. If you're watching this, you most likely know. But one thing I did like, and I'll get into what I thought was missing, but one thing I really appreciated was the memories of Officer John O'Keefe that were brought forth by his cousins and his family members. And I liked seeing the videos and the pictures of him so we could get an idea of what kind of person he was. Because I do agree, while a trial is not necessarily a memorial, right? I mean, you're not necessarily supposed to, I guess, paid tribute to the victims at the trial. I think throughout this entire ordeal, he's been lost. He has been forgotten, and I feel horrible for him and for his family because that I don't think was anybody's intention here. This just got crazy, and yeah. So here we are. So I did appreciate the videos of John dancing with his niece or doing a video with his niece on TikTok. It was nice. It was like, oh, we don't really get to hear a lot about this because everybody's just been so hyper focused on the trial and the evidence. So let's get to what I think that they really left out. I believe that they should have spoken about the inconsistencies in the forensic evidence and the constant arguments between experts throughout this. And I don't mean just the experts in the trial, I mean experts that have been covering this case, since the pretrial motion started getting filed. I mean, I think that it's a big deal. You've got experts on both sides. One side saying, okay, the patterns of John's arm indicate that these are dog bites. And you've got another side saying, absolutely not. This matches with a car accident or being struck by a vehicle. So I thought they really should have discussed that a lot more and really gotten into the details about that because the patterns of injuries and why many experts believe them to be inconsistent is important. It's not open and shut, in my opinion. Okay. And now this next part, it might be a little contentious to some people, but the role of the witnesses, and I'm not talking about Jennifer McCabe's Google search. I'm talking about the fact that the special seemed to largely gloss over the quote unquote coincidences. Now, if you don't believe in coincidences, you could argue that a lot of this stuff was weird that happened between the witnesses. And this is not me blaming anybody. I'm not necessarily pointing to anyone's guilt, but I am pointing to things that I think should have been brought up because this is also what makes this case so perplexing and confusing to so many people. And for me, this is what also brings forth the reasonable doubt here. So you have, let's see, so you have houses being sold. You have dogs being rehomed. You have cell phones being destroyed and SIM cards being destroyed or disposed of. You have people that are supposed to be friends of Officer O'Keefe referring to him as the guy. What else? You have the fact that a man who just happens to be a police officer is found dead on a first responder's yard, and this first responder never comes out to check and see what's going on. And yeah, it's a fellow officer. I mean, you don't have to get too much into the weeds to mention these just really strange coincidental happenings. And again, I'm not even mentioning half of them here. I'm just saying certain things that I think the audience would scratch their heads and say, oh, well, that's a little weird, or maybe not. Maybe they would think nothing of it. But it's important to include everything. Um, there's missing surveillance footage they could have brought up. They could have brought up the inverted video from the Sally port, which caused a lot of problems. And they didn't do that. They didn't talk about the footage that was missing from when Karen allegedly drove by the Canton Library. Again, they seem to leave a lot out. And I think that a lot of this stuff is just critical in understanding the full scope of this very, very confusing case. And I don't think that they should have necessarily included Julie Nagel seeing a big black blob. But yeah, that kind of would have been interesting to hear about if you're just hearing about this case for the first time, because it's just so crazy. Witnesses never saw John go in the house, they claim, but they never saw him outside of the house either. So anyway, the last thing I wanted to say about this is I thought that the interviews with Karen Reed, I thought that she did sound credible. There was one instance where she was talking about scrolling on her phone while John went in, she dropped him off and he got inside the house. I thought that part in particular, I didn't follow a few things, but I have to go back and look exactly at what she said. I'll probably transcribe it or something. But overall, yeah, I thought she didn't necessarily come across as this cold-blooded murderer. And I mean, I've gone about saying this on different podcasts and my own podcast and my own shows that, yeah, I think Murder 2 was an absolute overreach. And I'm still in shock that they have not dropped this charge. The state hasn't dropped the charge and just said, okay, manslaughter is our best shot here. But yeah, so again, overall, 2020 special, I did not think they did a great job of painting the picture of the full case and including some of the important details that confuse us. And I say us, meaning just people that have A, covered the case, B, are looking as an outsider with no skin in the game whatsoever, just observing. I thought that they left a lot out. But let me know your thoughts in the comments if you agree, if you disagree, but be nice. I know people can get very wild about this case. All right, justice for Officer John O'Keefe. Thank you so much.